Hello. Hello, friends. Hello, 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 hello. Sorry I'm late. I had some major technical issues in my last live on Facebook just now, and so I'm a little bit late. Sorry. I'm so happy to see you, though. People already coming on. Let me know where you're watching from in the comment section, where you're watching from, and tell me one word emotion that you're feeling right now. What are you feeling? What's going on for you? How are you? How's it going? I'm so glad to be here on YouTube with you. I love being here, especially on YouTube, because you guys are my people. Let me know where you're watching from and how are you doing? What are you feeling? Give me one emotion that you're feeling right now. I'm feeling pretty relaxed, pumped up, excited. Bethany's here. Yay. I'm so glad you're here. Bethany was just on my Facebook Live. It's so fun when you come on YouTube too, Bethany, because I say things differently because I never remember how I said stuff before. Feeling good. I'm glad to hear that. How's everyone else feeling? Let me know. Let me know where you're watching from, how you're feeling. Some more folks will come on. I'm just going to get into it so we can let people get on here. So this YouTube Live is about a 4-part system for stopping food cravings. And this is a system that I use myself to lose 21 pounds in the last couple months. I think 2-3 months, something like that. And it's a system that I want to share with you too. And also, this is a Q&A. Whenever I come on, these are always Q&As too. So every time you see me live, feel free to ask any question you have about the Eat to Live diet or weight loss or anything you're struggling with, literally anything, because I'm a life coach, so I can coach you on anything. Brenda, hello from Everett, Washington, and you are feeling irritated. Okay, well, that's good to know. I don't want to pry. Feel free to share if you like, if you want to kind of try to get over some of that irritation, but I'm sorry that you're feeling irritated. I was irritated with myself in the beginning of that last live I did on Facebook because my mic wasn't working and it took like 10 minutes for me to figure out the mic situation. Finally, I did. But my people that were there were so sweet and wonderful and supportive and didn't go away while I was messing with stuff. And I learned my lesson. Don't let my daughter play with the mic stuff while let me turn off my phone so I don't get these notifications. Don't let my daughter play with the mic stuff in the mornings. Cheri! Yay! You saw that too, Brenda? How embarrassing. Oh my gosh. Cheri is one of my Eat to Live family members, and I'm going to tell you all about the family on this call as well, because it's open for registration right now. We are only open this week, so if you want to join, you got to join. Actually, from the Facebook Live that I just did, at least 2 people signed up. Just from what we talked about, because the Itil family is amazing and I really want you in there. So what I'm going to do, I put the link also in the description there, but I'm going to put it here in the comments like I always do. So you can get to it just to like learn more about it. If you like, feel free to go over there and join. Just at least check out what you get out of the family. I pinned that to the top in this live comment section here so you guys can go check that out if you like. Okay, so today we're talking about a 4-part system for stopping food cravings because this is a system that we use in the Eat to Live family. What I'm about to teach you is sort of the beginning of how to start getting more control and more agency over your own mind, which will in turn create more agency over your actions. When we have those things in line, we can do anything. I mean, we can make $1 million if we want using that stuff. We can lose all the weight we've ever wanted and keep it off. We can eat all the good stuff in our life and just have healthy food. Starshine, hello. I'm so glad you're loving the nutritarian way of life. It's certainly changed my life. And I was talking about on the last live I was on how much so, like how I went from where I was to where I am now. And just the feeling you get from eating healthy, whole plant-based foods, plus having them be high nutrient, plus no oil, no salt, no sugar, incomparable, right? It's just wonderful. So feel free, you guys, to ask some questions in the Q&A if you like. This is always a Q&A every time I come live. Feel free to ask me anything you want. If you're struggling with anything, I would be happy to help. I am a certified life coach. My name is Cheri Alberts, certified life coach and Eat to Live expert. And I would say that, and I'm the foremost Eat to Live private coach in the world, the whole world. um, I know, enough to talk your ear off for 12 days about how to eat to live, but I also know, like, not just what to eat, but I know how to do it when you don't want to, right? Like, do you ever have those moments where you come home from a day of work, you're really tired, and you just can't imagine having a salad? You just can't imagine having like something that's healthy. You just want something to feel better. That's what I coach people through. That's what I coach people on, how to be able to create the result of having the salad instead for the rest of their lives, right? I am coming from a place of food addiction. That's kind of like my story. I was a binge eater, I was a food hoarder. I just loved food. And in fact, that's why I started this website, The Watering Mouth, because it was all about chocolate and chocolate cake and foodie stuff and just loving talking about food. And I was so obsessed. And I used to tell people when I first started the website, I just want to talk about food. That's like, I said, if there's one thing that I could talk about all day, every day, and never get tired of it, it would be food. And it's so funny how it has shifted on its head since then. Because now it's, then I found Eat to Live, and then it became how, like, talking about how to eat good food, right? Like healthy food, and how to become less obsessed with food. That's like what my brand turned into. And it's just funny how that's changed. But I wanted to talk today about the Eat to Live family because it is the place I've created. It's a monthly group coaching program. It's the place I've created for everybody to come together who wants to eat to live, but who can't really keep it together, who can't, like, because like when you first find Eat to Live, you're just like, this is it. This is amazing. I love it. How could you ever not eat this way? Like, people are so stoked and so excited about it. And it's really like that anytime you find a diet and you're like, oh, I will answer that question, Danielle. Give me one sec. You're like, how could I ever not do this? And when people start, they really think it's going to be like that forever. And then life hits, right? And then something happens in your life where you just decide, Tanya, hello, my dear. I miss you too, honey. How are you? Tanya came to hear me speak year and a half ago or 2 years ago here in Vegas about Eat to Live. And it was just so wonderful to meet you in person. I was talking mostly about mindset at that time, but so good to see you, Tanya. Something happens in your life, you fall off track. For me, that was my dad died. So I found Eat to Live in March. I started eating to live in June, and then my dad died in November. So I was doing really good for like 3-4 months there. And then pasta and butter again. It was just like back to my old eating habits. But I knew Eat to Live existed. I actually lost 22 pounds in 6 weeks the first time I did Eat to Live, which is similar to what I'm doing right now. I lost 21 pounds in the last couple months, like I think 2, maybe 3 months, just by following Eat to Live after my twin pregnancy here. So I really, really have that dialed in on how to eat to live, on, I always call it on speed dial, but I'm aware that some people like maybe don't even know what speed dial is anymore because it's not really like you just go to your contacts now, but like speed dial is kind of an outdated thing to say, but whatever, we're going to go with it. Okay. So if you can have weight loss on speed dial and you can have healthy eating, just like what you do, then you can put the whole food thing behind you. You can put the whole weight thing behind you. And who could you be? What would you do with your life if that wasn't a concern anymore? That's my passion. That right there is like getting people to that place where they get to be them again. Before the food addiction took over, before the cravings and the obsession with food and the love of food, just the real deep love of food, before the lesson that food is your friend, before all that took over for you, who would you have become without that? Right? Because gosh, I mean, I'm 38 now, but I just think like I've been obsessed with food since I was like 10. So it's like 28 years. And I'm aware so many other people have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of this. Hmm. Gosh, it robs us. It really does. It robs us of who we could be without that. So what could we do with our lives if we were at our healthy weight, if we didn't have to take medications all the time, if we didn't have to be going to the doctor all the time, if this and that and this and that, what would we do at that time? Well, we don't even know because we can't even imagine a world in which that might be possible. And that's what I make possible. That is what I do. That is my life's calling. That is my passion. It's my mission is to anybody who's struggling with food to figure out how not to struggle with food so they can become who they're supposed to be, right? To even have the space in their brain to consider that there might be another thing to do besides food. Like everyone I talk to is like, they're like, oh, and I say things like, you see this in Coach Nancy's latest video. She talks about being bored with your food. People are like, but how could you be bored with your food? Like, that sounds so terrible. Like, life sounds so terrible if you're bored with your food. But no, how about you be bored with your food and not care about your food and then love your life more because you're in it, right? Like instead of thinking that everything you do has to be about food, how about we actually think that Christmas has to do with the people we're with, right? Or weddings are about the wedding. The reception is about the reception instead of just when is the next course coming or when is that cake coming out, right? Or how many of those Jordan almonds can I eat without someone noticing, right? How much of that movie candy is going to be um, how much of that movie candy can I eat without being judged, right? Like what if we didn't have any thoughts like that anymore? What space would we have in our life to do other things, to be like passionate about life and love our life and put things into our life that we never even considered before? Like what if you are supposed to become really good at knitting and then you're supposed to take that hobby and turn it into a children's after school program that like knits stuff for babies or something. I don't know. I'm making something totally up, but you get my point. Like you would never even know because you've been spending all that time obsessing about food, right? That's my passion is like, who could we be without food? Having to think about food. And who could we be if the food that we were eating was the best food on the planet? If it was like the most nourishing food on the planet, what would we feel like? What would our life be like if that's what we were eating? So that's what I teach. That's what I want you to know in your core, in your soul. I want you to know how to do that for yourself, how to stick to it, how to be consistent, how to put aside the struggles with food. Okay, I'm gonna get off my soapbox because man, I get fired up. I always get fired up. I was fired up on the last call. I'm fired up on this call. And oh, Michael, nice to meet you. He says Palmdale, California, checking your channel out. I love what you're doing. Well, I love what you're doing by being here. So thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, Danielle, I'm gonna go to your question real quick, and then we're gonna get into the meat of this call, so to speak. Danielle says, I've only been doing this 2 weeks. Question, is constipation a normal thing when starting this? I've never had it before. Yes, 100% it is. It happens to a lot of folks. It's funny because some people will go the opposite direction where it will be a little bit looser, just depending. But for sure, constipation is a big thing for many people. So I'll give you a couple of tips here. But I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a medical professional by any means. I'm a life and weight coach, right? But I do know from experience with a lot of clients and things like that. Constipation is a big thing because you have to imagine it like, this is weird, but imagine like a paper shredder. Okay. And as you're shredding this paper, imagine this is your digestive tract. You got a paper shredder. It's used to shredding up meat and cheese and things that are kind of like soft and easy to shred, so to speak. And then you start throwing in a whole different type of fuel. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Gears grinding. What's happening? I don't know how to do this yet. Now, it's not because it's harder to digest, because in fact, plant foods are easier to digest, but it's because you're having different types of fibers that did not exist in the pasta or the meat or the cheese before, right? So these foods that we used to eat didn't have any fiber in them, and now we're adding in all this fiber. So basically what happens, you can kind of imagine it like as you're throwing in that food into the paper shredder, it's like, wait a minute, it's drying out because it doesn't know, like, I'm not saying your intestines are drying out. I'm just saying like the paper shredder is drying out because it doesn't know how to process it. So what you would do with the paper shredder is you'd add a bunch of oil to the top of the gears to get that to work, right? But in our guts, what we need is not oil. We need gut bacteria to break that food down. So you got to imagine that your gut has never had the type of bacteria, the specific type of bacteria to break those specific foods down. So it has to proliferate that. It has to create it and make more of it. But the only way you can make that gut bacteria is by eating nutritarian foods because it comes from the food. So it takes a little while, Danielle, but you will get better at it. Your gut will start to create more of that bacteria, and it will be able to break it down a lot easier. To the point where for myself, if I eat meat or cheese, I have the worst like cramping and gas pains and things like that because I don't have that bacteria anymore to break that stuff down because I don't need it. My gut has created the bacteria that it needs to break down plant foods and to break down nutritarian foods. So for instance, when I eat beans and I eat salads and all the G bombs and things like that, like my digestion is like, it's a rock star. I mean, it's so fast, it's so easy, no issues, but you have to kind of get through that first part first. But I have to say, like, make sure that you're eating the foods because if you don't eat the foods, it can't create that bacteria. So you've got to be eating the beans and the mushrooms and all those things. Those really help create that bacteria. But that being said, you want to help your digestion along a little bit. So there's a couple things you can do. Number one is to chew your food really thoroughly. So it's kind of gross at first, like if you're not used to doing that, but chewing every bite to a liquid and before you swallow it, because typically we'll only chew a few times before we swallow, but keep chewing so it's a lot more broken down. What that's going to do is going to add a lot more saliva as well as you go. So if you can get it to a liquid by chewing, it's going to ease that process a lot more in your digestive tract. The other thing that you can do is drink some more water. You don't want to be drinking a ton of water because plant foods have a ton of water already, but just be drinking some more, so that it can kind of help that along a little bit. We don't want to use anything like Beano or anything like that because what that's doing is basically doing what your digestive tract already can do. You're just kind of like giving it an artificial version of that, but you don't really want to do that. Like your gut can do it. Trust your gut. It will trust your gut. Like it will do it by itself. Just stick with it. And you may want to cut back a little bit on certain foods, like maybe beans or especially starchy foods and grains. Don't have any of that if you can help it in the beginning because those are pretty constipating. Bananas are constipating as well. I eat tons of that stuff nowadays. I don't really eat much grains because I don't really care about them, and starches and stuff. I don't really care about those, but like tons of bananas, and I have some oats every once in a while and things like that. And I don't get that constipation anymore because my gut is just really good at it. It just knows, has all the stuff it needs. Okay. But talk to your doctor. Let me say that too. Like, if you have any issues or whatever, because I'm not a medical professional. Okay. So back to the 4-part system for stopping food cravings. Now we're talking about this because, and feel free to ask any other questions if you guys have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. But we're talking about this because the Eat to Live, you're welcome. The Eat to Live family is open for registration right now, which is my monthly coaching membership. Now, I'm going to tell you more about that in a sec, but what I'm about, the system I'm going to tell you, this 4-part system for stopping food cravings is something that we teach in the family. It's something that, this is part of our system. We actually have a 4-part system called the PAL system, which you will learn about in there, which is how to step by step, how to eat consistently, eat to live for the rest of your life. So this, what I'm going to teach you right now is part of that PAL system. Okay. It's just a little bit of that PAL system. I have a hair that's tickling me here. So I'm going to teach you a 4-part system for stopping food cravings. And the first thing that comes to mind when people hear this is they're like, wait a minute, can you actually like stop food cravings? Do they actually go away? Yes, they do. And I'm going to kind of give you a little, I'm going to qualify this for you in a sec. What I mean when I say stopping is they get to a point, like you want to think of it like your brain is like your little sister, like tapping on your shoulder, like, hey, yeah, she's trying to bug you, like, do this thing, and you have to do this for me, right? And if you ignore her, she'll go away because like there's a point at which she will lose interest in whatever she's trying to bug you about. The brain is very similar. Where the brain is bugging you, It's making you crave things because it thinks what you were doing is important. It thinks that eating 3 croissants at Starbucks is important because it's a quick load of calories. And those calories get absorbed by the blood, absorbed into the bloodstream so much quicker than something like a nut and seed or a bean or romaine or something like that. Like those calories go right into the bloodstream. So the brain likes that, and it puts like a little red flag on that when that happens. Is like, hey, remember that because that was a quick source of calories. That means we're going to stay alive, because the brain is concerned with right now survival. And so if it knows that something is like really high calorie and that it's going to get calories really fast, it's like, oh, that's important. We should keep doing that, right? So it remembers all the things about that situation, like where you went to get those calories, what you typically are doing right before you get those calories. So it can remind you, like, hey, remember when you drive here, those calories are there, right? It will help you crave that over and over and over again the more you teach it how to do that. So the more you take in those calories in that way, the more you teach your brain that pattern. And the brain likes it because it feels important because it's a quick source of calories. And the brain is really concerned with right now calories instead of, it's not thinking long term. It's not thinking like, what are the best calories for me for the rest of my life, like to extend my lifespan. No, it's just thinking about right now because it's this reptilian side of your brain that deals with this part. Is like, how do we just keep this person in homeostasis right now? How do we keep this person alive? No, homeostasis is a huge important concept, which just means trying to stay the same as it is right now. Because our brain is always trying to keep us in homeostasis. It's using that reptilian side of our brain, which is about immediate survival, not long term survival, immediate survival. That side of our brain is really loud, really, really loud. So it serves cravings like loud. And it's like, no, you've got to eat this food. It's really important. It's a ton of calories. It's going to keep you alive. That's why when you go on a diet and you start to lose weight, the brain gets even louder because it's like, oh my God, we're going to die. We're losing pounds. Food must be scarce, right? So it freaks out. It really worries about that kind of stuff. So it gets really loud. But this is how we reverse this, is by teaching it the opposite. So our brains are super, super good at learning. They're really good at learning the bad habits. They're really good at learning how to keep you alive with really high calorie food. They're good at that. But they're also good at unlearning that. We just have to show it how. So I'm going to show you how we do that today. So in the Eat to Live family, this is what we talk about 100%. There's a difference between learning what to eat. And you can learn what to eat in Dr. Furman's books. Really easy. He tells you everything to eat, how much of it to eat, all that. But what's missing from this equation in all diet programs, in all ways of eating, is how to do it when you just don't want to. You come home from work, you're really tired, you don't feel like doing it. You come home from work, you're really tired, and you're like, I couldn't possibly make a salad right now, or I do not want to eat a salad. You're like, I just want something quick, comforting, whatever, right? Like, how many of you have felt this way before? So I teach how to do this when we just don't want to, when we're not feeling like it. Like, how do we wrap our mindset around that? Hey, Stacy, good to see you. So that's what I teach. That's my job. Oh, my daughter wants to come in. Hold on one sec. I'm coming, baby. Hi. You got me a flower. Oh, that's so beautiful. Come over here one second. I got a flower, you guys. Look at this flower. Yay. You want to sit with
my wheel keeps falling off.
Your wheel's falling off. Okay, do you want to sit with me for a second? I had to do this call.
No.
No? Okay. Then can I do my call? Okay. You want to watch TV for a minute?
How about I just can I please take your camera and take a picture of you?
Yeah, you can take pictures of my camera. Let me shut the door real quick. I have Isabella up here. Okay.
Mommy, let me take a picture.
Okay, but let me do my call, okay?
Okay.
All right. Sorry, guys. Thanks for being patient. So the brain is concerned with keeping us to remember, like reminding us of those high calorie things just to keep us alive right now. We can retrain ourselves in the opposite direction. We can retrain ourselves how to stop those food cravings, stop those patterns for good. So, I'm going to teach you the 4-part system for stopping food cravings. We talk all about this in the Eat to Live family, and we expand like crazy on it. We have, bye bye. Thank you. We expand on this like crazy as well. I have a whole Eat to Live Academy, which is a 8-week digital coaching course. Oh, thanks, Starshine, says Isabella. Is adorable. Yeah, that's my little baby. I got 2 others downstairs somewhere, little twin babies who are with the wonderful nanny right now. But in the Eat to Live family, I've got programs about this, how to do this. We expand on everything I'm about to tell you right now. And there's a lot more too. So I'll tell you in a minute about that. But let's get into the 4-part system. So the first thing that we want to do, I'm going to tell you the first 3 steps. I'm going to kind of explain what those are in just a minute. So we become aware, we notice, and we name. Okay, so this is sort of all together here in the same action. You might do this all together. So this is in response to kind of the model that I use to teach this kind of stuff, which is the self-coaching model by Brooke Castillo that I learned about in my life coaching school. So I became an Eat to Live expert over many years of practice and studying and knowledge. And then I thought, wow, I really want to figure out how to get over my binging now, because the way it worked for me was I was always a binge eater, right? I would eat so much just junk food all the time, and I didn't know how to stop. When I found Eat to Live, I was like, oh, this is the solution, right? Like I need to eat this stuff. And I thought that just by eating that stuff, my food addiction would go away. My cravings would go away. It would get easier, whatever. And it did get easier, but I didn't finish. I still, even when I was eating my best, I was still overeating. I was still binging at times, at least once a week, probably still, but unhealthy foods like maybe bean pasta and some vegan butter or something. Not really healthy, but like better than standard American diet the way I used to eat. And I would be binging on like banana ice cream. You can even see that in some vlogs I put up in 2016, and not really knowing how to stop that. I just couldn't figure out. I would eat dates and almond butter all the time, and I would eat like 10, 20 of them at a time. And I just didn't know how to stop. And it was this like part of me that I just couldn't crack. I couldn't figure it out. And it became my quest, really. So I loved the food I was eating, but I was like, how can I do this consistently? How can I keep eating this? And that's when I found life coaching techniques. I found this mindset stuff that I teach about how to get your thoughts to support your goals. So the way that we say this, kind of like the cognitive behavioral therapy model a little bit too. It's the idea is that our thoughts and our beliefs create our feelings, and our feelings create our actions. So if we want to change our actions, if we want to eat healthfully instead of unhealthfully, we have to change our feelings. And then in order to do that, we have to change our thoughts. But then everyone's like, well, how do you change your thoughts, right? So I'm going to tell you how to do that right now. This is the 4-part system to stop food cravings. So can you stop food cravings? Yes. You have to reverse what you've been doing as a pattern. So I'll give you an example. I used to go to Starbucks during my most recent pregnancy and my first pregnancy too, and my food addiction, the binging came back during that period because I would eat I would go there, I would get my coffee, the venti, real sugary. I would either get the pink drink or I would get a mocha. And I would get 3 croissants, you guys, 3 at a time, because I couldn't possibly choose a flavor. So I needed to get all 3 that I liked. And I would just eat them all. Like as I'm driving out the parking lot, I would eat them all, like inhale them. I'm not even paying attention to my food. I'm just eating it, right? Because I was trying to get a feeling out of that. And this was a pattern that I had. And so I'm going to give you kind of some information on how you might stop that. So the first thing that we would do is look at what our thoughts are. And I told you thoughts create feelings, feelings create reactions. So if we want to stop going to Starbucks, we want to stop the action of going to Starbucks, we have to change our feeling about it. When we change our feeling, in order to change that feeling, we have to change our thoughts. So how do we change our thoughts about it? Well, here's the thoughts I had about it when I was doing it. It was, I need a break. I need to get out of the house. This is the first time I've been out of the house since the twins were born. I deserve this. I'm really hungry. This is going to make me feel so good. I deserve a pick me up. This is going to be great. Now go to Starbucks. Now I'd get the things, right? Those thoughts, that set of thoughts would create a feeling of urgency. It would create a feeling of need and desire. And when I acted from that feeling of need and desire, I would eat croissants. I'd have 3 of them at a time and my coffee, right? So that was the model I was working from at that time. Then what happened over time was I started to shift my thoughts a little bit towards, wow, I really want to lose weight again, right? Like I need to get this under control. I don't want to eat like this anymore. I really want to stop this. And I would start to shift more towards, I would like weight loss. I also know that this is not healthy for me. I was listening to Dr. Furman a little bit more and reading the books again. And so his thoughts would come into my head, which are like croissants are one of the worst foods you could ever eat health wise, bad for insulin, bad for all these other things. So his thoughts were coming in a little bit. I was accepting those thoughts, letting those come in. And slowly but surely, I started to convince myself that this wasn't super good for me, right? There was a period there where I was like, no, I'm eating them. I want them. I'm not changing. I don't want to fix this. And so there was months, like several months where I was like, nope, this is what I'm doing. I like it. I don't want to give it up. And it wasn't until my thoughts changed around actually eating it that I started to change. So I said to myself, all those thoughts I had about like, I really want to lose weight now. I know this isn't healthy for me. I really should, listen to these thoughts about this. And then I started to do something which I teach in the Eat to Live family, the monthly coaching membership, which is this idea of small shifts. So I started to shift my way out of that habit. Now, I told you that the only way to stop a food craving is to stop that behavior, because you have to teach your brain a different pattern. So you can teach your brain to go to Starbucks all the time, but in order to stop the cravings for Starbucks, you actually have to stop going to Starbucks. But like, how do you stop going to Starbucks, right? Like, that's the natural question is, but how do you actually stop when you keep having those cravings? So here's what it is. One of the things we teach in the Eat to Live family, the monthly group coaching membership that I have, which is super affordable, by the way, I teach you on all of this kind of stuff. So if this seems interesting to you or it's not like something that might be useful, make sure you sign up for the family. It's only open for registration this week. We're going to close down really soon. So you have to get in. There's a link in the chat, and there's also a link in the description of this video. But one of the things that I teach is called small shifts. And so what I did with Starbucks was I started to small shift my way out of it. And I shifted based on my thoughts. So my thought was, I really want to slow down on this. I really don't want to do this anymore. I want to end this habit. I'm not ready to in the beginning. And then there was a point where I was like, I'm ready, but I'm not ready to give it up completely. So I started small shifting my way out. And one of the small shifts I did was I created a thought in my head that was like, well, okay, I think I could deal with having just 2 croissants instead of 3, right? So I started with just 2. And I was having only 2, and I did that for a while. Sometimes I would have 3 again and I would go back to 2, right? And then there was a point where after doing that for a period of weeks or whatever, then my brain was like, okay, I think we could go to just 1 croissant. Pick your favorite. And I was like, all right, I'll have whichever one I want at the time. I'll just pick one. It's okay. I can just have one. Small shifted my way out of that. And then I went to a different drink. So instead of the really sugary drink, I started reducing the pumps of sugar that they would put in the drink till I got down to a lower sugar drink. And then there was a thought in my head. Then, it's COVID time. You got to wait in the parking lot for like 30 minutes to get your order. So then I started to have a thought that was, I am getting out of the house once a week, maybe by myself, and I'm going to sit in the Starbucks parking lot for 30 minutes with this like 1 hour that I have in between pumping or feeding or whatever. I'm going to sit in Starbucks for half of that in traffic, like waiting to eat food that's not good for me, right? So you can see my thoughts started to shift even more. And I was like, I'm going to wait for 30 minutes just for 1 croissant and a drink that doesn't even taste that good. I could be out in the desert, like enjoying and going for a little hike or going for a walk or whatever. So you see how my thoughts started to really shift out of that. Then there was a day where I was like, I got to a place where I was just having my old tea drink, which was tea plus a little almond milk. And then I was having one croissant. And then I stopped having the croissant because I shifted my thoughts around that. Then I was like, why am I sitting for 30 minutes in the parking lot to get tea that I could get at home? you know? So I don't know if you can notice this, but it was through shifting my thoughts about it. Like, okay, now I'm comfortable. Now it would be okay if I stopped having 3 croissants. I'll just have 2. I'm ready for this. It's okay. I didn't just change a habit. I changed my thoughts to create a feeling that was resolve and I'm doing this. And those thoughts created that feeling, and that feeling created the new actions. Okay. So this is something we teach in the Itil family. It's a concept we use called small shift, which is part of the PAL system that I teach. I don't drink matcha tea, Tanya. I mean, it's a fine drink, but it's got caffeine in it. And for me, I don't even really need any drinks. I just drink water and I'm happy with that. So we do actually sell matcha tea on my website. It's the best kind of matcha tea in the world, but I don't even really drink it anymore because I don't need it. So this thing that I just told you about, the small shifts, that's one step of the PAL system, which is what we teach in the Eat to Live family. For this kind of the overarching thing of what we're talking about right now. What we're talking about right now is a much smaller part of that PAL system, the simple 4-step process we use for eating for health for the rest of our lives, eating consistently. Okay. So now let me shift back and just give you a little bit of this 4-part system just to stop the food cravings. Okay. So the first thing we do, and I'm going to use the Starbucks example as what this 4-part system is. I'm going to use that to illustrate this. Okay. So I told you the first 3 steps: becoming aware, noticing, and naming. And I put these in the description of this video too. So you can have those, you can just cut and paste them if you want to take notes or whatever. So the first one is becoming aware. So in the Starbucks example, the awareness here would be becoming aware of what I'm doing in general, right? So the habit, we'd sort of look at that action line. We'd look at the habits and see what are the habits. So the awareness is, oh, I'm going to Starbucks a lot. I can see that. Wow. I go every week. Whenever I get a chance to get out of the house, I go to a Starbucks. I can see that. I get 3 croissants. I probably shouldn't be doing this. I'm just becoming aware of what I'm doing. So we become aware first. We sort of admit to ourselves what's going on. Instead of just being on autopilot, there's a point where we just become aware. The next thing we do is notice what's happening around the whole thing. So awareness is, first of all, like just turning on the light. Noticing is noticing sort of the patterns, like 3 croissants, I keep doing this every Saturday. I do this, whatever. So we notice what's actually happening. So we become aware, and then we start to notice. And then the third step is name. Name exactly what's going on. So we name our thoughts, we name our feelings, and we name our actions. So a really good way to do this is to just start journaling a little bit. Now, this is something you can just do in a few minutes every day. It doesn't have to take much time, and don't put tons of effort into this. It's really easy. Just write down every day what you ate, how much of it you ate, and maybe how you were feeling when you ate it. Something to just start thinking about. If you can start to become just this little bit of aware, right? Just do a few things, keep a little log, and that's going to allow you to name what's happening. So you're naming, okay, I go to Starbucks every Saturday. I always get 3 croissants. I always get this coffee, whatever. Or I always order Jimmy John's for lunch. I always, take some candy when I walk past that candy dish. Or we always go out for drinks on the weekends. We always get appetizers. We'll go to this restaurant, whatever. So you're sort of just writing things down. Now, the reason I say write it down is because there's so much that we do during the day that we'll never remember if we don't write it down. And you'll be surprised at some of the things you'll realize that you do that you didn't even consider as patterns. So these are the first 3 steps. Become aware, first of all, of your surroundings and your actions. Notice all the things you're doing and then name them. So actually write them down. Just take like 7 days. I have a little notebook in my kitchen that I keep on the kitchen counter that I use for a lot of different things, like a little bit of meal planning, writing down recipes I really liked, whatever. You can use a notebook like this, just have it available in the kitchen. So every time you eat, right, just write that down, or keep a notes thing in your phone. Just take a note about what you're eating so you can name these things. And as you're doing this, be looking at the emotions that are occurring when that happens. Now, this can be hard for some. But I want to give you some examples of some emotions that might be occurring. So look at my Starbucks example. The emotion that was occurring during that was urge, right? Craving, urge and craving. But those were coming from feelings of like, I deserve this, I like retribution or like, reward, like feelings of reward, feelings of um a little bit of like rebellion, like, oh, I'm out of the house. Now I'm going to do whatever I want, some feelings like that. And it might be hard for you to pinpoint your feelings, but for some folks, it might be easier to pinpoint your thoughts. I was just working with a client the other day on a call, and a thing happened to her, and it set off a trigger in her head to want to eat. And when she came to the call with me, she said something like, before you knew it, I got this thing happened to me, and then before you knew it, I was having a turkey sandwich, and she said I didn't really like it. I happened to stop in the middle of it, but I didn't really like it. And she said, before you knew it, I was in the refrigerator, and she's like, I didn't even know what was going on. I just made the sandwich, and that was it. I was already eating it. Now, this can happen a lot for us where we kind of go into automatic mode and our brain is just like being super automatic and just telling us what to do. We're not even thinking about it. So, if we find that this happens to us a lot, this is where writing things down will be really helpful for us. If we can write down the things that are happening to us and things we're feeling and thinking, we start to sort of uncover that a little bit. Now, for this particular client, when she said, before you knew it, I was in the fridge, like it was an automatic thing that happened, we dug into that situation for about 20 minutes. And I was asking her, well, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? What was going on for you at that moment? And at first, it was hard to kind of tease those things out. But asking her more questions and more questions, she finally realized there was a list of like 5 things that set her off in that moment. It wasn't just one thing. It was she was worried about this, and like this thing happened, and it made her worry about this one thing and this other thing and this other thing. And she was worried, and it brought up old past memories and things like that. And there was like 5 things in there she didn't even notice were the catalyst for those feelings, because she was thinking all this stuff, which was creating her feelings. Her feelings were like, need to get out of this pain, like urgency, craving. So as she was having those feelings, that created, triggers, exactly. That created that action of going to the fridge to get the turkey sandwich, right? But look at what it took to tease out what happened there. It took a coach, it took someone to explain to her, and not to explain, but to ask her, find out what those thoughts were in there. That's why, private coaching can be such an amazing investment, especially Coach Nancy, who is my coach, and she coaches for the folks on the family as well. She does the private coaching. She's amazing at teasing this stuff out and finding out what is triggering you, what is going on. And if just having, Conce says, I will stop my food cravings when I'm sleepy and tired. Yeah. And for a lot of people, it's funny because like being sleepy or tired makes it worse. You have less, agency sort of over what you're doing. And before you know it, you're just kind of having, Tanya says she's so awesome. Coach Nancy is just amazing. She's so good at private coaching, but so many things. I hire her for myself to straighten my brain out every week, but this is what we will do as private coaches. And this is what we do in the Itil family as well. We have 2 monthly group coaching calls where it would be like this with me, but you would come on camera with me and we would talk about this particular issue, whatever this issue was that you were having. And I would help coach you through what was happening, giving you perspective, helping you understand, and then helping you understand how to avoid that in the future and how to deal with that so that it doesn't become a food issue. It only becomes an issue that we deal with on the outside, right? So with my client, I was helping her name what was happening, naming those feelings, naming those thoughts, like figuring out what were the thoughts that triggered that feeling, and then that feeling that created the eating of the sandwich, right? Now, that's the first sort of set of steps, those first things that we do, becoming aware. Now, you can become aware on your own, as I said, by taking notes, by journaling, doing thought downloads. You can do that on your own. And it's super helpful. We do that in the Eat to Live family as well. but it's easier and faster to become aware with a coach, with someone who's helping you tease that out, helping you figure that out. That's what we do in the Eat to Live family all day long. Helping people figure out what their issues are, why they keep doing these patterns, how we can fix those patterns for good, right? Like become consistent with Eat to Live. That's what we do in the Eat to Live family. Okay, so that's the first 3 steps we do. Now, the last step is the important one. This is kind of like the answer to everything. And we have a whole program in the, Christine. Oh, Christine, good to see you. She says she's on her 4th try of ETL. Well, do you know how many tries I've had, Christine? Oh my gosh, probably 10 in the last 8.5 years. So many. Just don't quit, right? Like, cool, 4th try, awesome. 4th try is a charm, or maybe the 7th try is a charm, right? Stick with it. You'll get it. Join the Eat to Live family. I created the family so that I could teach you how I stopped trying and just figured it out finally, Yeah, agreed. Good. Don't quit. Like you'll figure it out. And listen to the videos that I'm giving you, because I went from being a binge eater, complete overeater all the time, to finding Eat to Live and thinking that was the solution. And it really did help, but it wasn't the final solution. I always went back to binging or overeating or whatever, to finding these life coaching techniques that I use. And I found these life coaching techniques from the life coach school, Brooke Castillo, amazing life-changing stuff. And then I applied it to Eat to Live. I applied it to my food issues. And I took a year. This was right after the birth of my first daughter in 2017. I took a year to implement these and figure these out. And it took me a year to lose that weight. Finally, I lost it all, figured it out. And then I was like, ooh, I got to coach this. I have to teach how you do this. I got to teach this to anyone who will listen. And so I created the Eat to Live Academy. I did some workshops. Eat to Live Academy is included in the Eat to Live family. So I created the Academy first, changed lives. Folks in there love it. And so many of the folks who have joined the family, this is our current set of folks who are coming in. There's a few missing up there since I've been doing these calls, but so I created the Academy, and then I was like, and I do private coaching with, dozens of clients. I've helped so many clients with this kind of stuff too. But then I was like, I need to have something where people can just come in and it be really affordable. They can do things at their own pace. They can learn what they need to learn, just take the bits that work for them, and they can have community. So like, all of my private coaching clients always say to me at some point in a private coaching relationship, well, I don't know anyone that does this. This is so hard because I don't know anyone that does this. And it's so true. It's like impossible to find anyone who eats healthy anyways, but is consistent and then for sure eats to live. Like nobody does the nutritarian diet. I don't know anyone. I only know a few people. But I thought I wanted to create a place where we could all do this together. So I created the Eat to Live family, which is, you can kind of imagine it like Facebook, but not Facebook. It's not on Facebook. It's its own social network of just nutritarians. We've got hundreds of people in there, just nutritarians, or just people who want to eat healthy at least. They don't have to be nutritarians, but they want to eat healthy. They want to get rid of oil, salt, sugar, whatever. And they want to encourage each other and have camaraderie and support, accountability. So I created that for the folks in there to finally have a place where they could be together, where they could commune. And so you can imagine sort of Facebook, it's got a feed and everything, but it doesn't have any advertisements, no distractions. It's just a place to come to talk about this stuff, to share successes and struggles and help each other out. And then we have all my courses as well. So we've got the Eat to Live Academy, which is an 8-week digital coaching course that explains all of these concepts that I'm talking about in a digital coaching course. You can take it at your own pace. That's all included there, which is like a $497 value. I sold this thing 100 times for $497. It's worth way more. I've been told that so many times. It's worth so much more, but that's included in the monthly price. Like I just throw it in. So anyone can go through that as quick as you want. Then we have a whole recipes section as well, where we're adding our own favorite recipes in there too, salad dressings and stuff like that. But the other part that I think is so amazing is my weight loss vlog. So I've been doing a weight loss vlog. Like if you've ever watched my 10 and 20 vlog that I did, it's like that, only way bigger. I've been vlogging for about 3.5 months now. Let's see, October, November, December, January, February, March. Sorry, 5 months. April, 6 months. Holy cow, 6 months now. I just haven't put them all up. There's 3.5 months up there now, but I'm putting them up as quick as I can. I vlog almost every single day on exactly what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and shifting in my mind in order to lose weight. And I've lost 21 pounds in the last, I think, 3-4 months, something like that. So I'm telling you everything that I did and everything I'm doing and how I'm shifting my own thoughts. It's basically like a huge coaching course. But it's showing you everything I'm doing, and I'm going to be doing it all the way down to my nutritarian goal weight, and probably even further than that, to continue to show you how I'm maintaining. Um, so that's all in there as well. There's probably 50 videos in there now that are like 15 to 30 minutes long. It's insane. It's a behemoth, but it's amazing. That's all included in the Eat to Live family for a super affordable monthly coaching. It's ridiculous what I charge. And then the other thing you get, which is maybe even the best part of all of that, is 2 monthly group coaching calls with me. So everyone comes on the group and coaching call. Whoever wants to get coached can get coached. You just raise your hand and I'll coach you through any issue. And everyone can watch. They're like hot seat style and super transformative. Like the people are talking about them in there, just that they hear, like when you see someone else get coached, it might not be the same issue you have, but there are things that are going to spark where you're like, oh, that relates exactly to what I do. And oh my gosh, that's the solution. Okay, great. It's so useful to see someone else get coached. So we do 2 of those a month. We might be adding more of those, but 2 for now, at least 2 monthly group coaching calls with me. And they're all in there. So if you ever want to watch the ones that we've had since when we opened this in February 1st, you can watch all of those calls from the past as well. There's a quick start program, which is just how to get in there really quick and figure out how to do this really quickly so you can just get started and start losing weight. So many people, I mean, this has only been open for 2-3 months. So many people have lost so much weight, like 10, 15, 20 pounds already, just from this mindset shift stuff that I'm talking about. And so I'm going to tell you a technique called allowing, which is sort of the pièce de résistance of sort of weight loss, consistency, healthy eating. But this is part of a much bigger program that's inside of the Eat to Live family called the Eat to Live Academy. So I'll teach you this one little thing, but just know that this is greatly expanded in the Eat to Live family. We've got so much more information about this here. We use different tools and techniques to make this stuff happen. I coach on it. I help you learn it so you can become consistent for the rest of your life and just put this issue down. So this last step in the 4-part system for stopping food cravings is called allowing. And this is allowing an urge or allowing a feeling, because 100% of our overeating is because of our emotions. It's because we're either trying to get out of a painful emotion or trying to augment a good emotion, right? So either augmenting is like, oh, it's Friday, I want to relax, I want to feel good, so I'm going to go relax and I'm going to have some wine, I'm going to have some appetizers, we're going to eat a bunch of carbs and just stuff our mouths with meat and dairy and carbs and cheese and all these things because I want to feel better, because we want the dopamine hit to make it feel even better, right? Get rid of that stress. So we eat for those reasons, but we also eat there's other reasons we eat too, like for feeling connected, for feeling a part of something, a part of a tribe. But then we also overeat for trying to get out of emotions, like something is painful and we don't want to feel it, right? Either we're lonely or we're sad or we're angry or we're embarrassed or shamed, feeling shameful or humiliated or whatever. Or we can have even really simple feelings like just bored or restless. That's one that comes up with my clients all the time, just boredom and restlessness. We're trying to get out of those feelings. So here's what we do. In order to actually stop the food cravings for good, we use a technique called allowing our feelings or allowing our emotions or our urges. When we allow those to happen to us, so what that means is, I'll give you an example. We're sitting in the Starbucks parking lot about to go buy whatever that is that I was going to go buy. We sit there and we know we're having that craving. We're like, oh, my mouth is watering. I really want to have that croissant. I'm thinking about it. It's so wonderful. We allow that to happen to us. And we do what I said before, being aware, noticing, naming, figuring out what's going on, and then just allowing it to happen. But we don't buy the croissants, right? Like we don't actually eat them. But we allow ourselves to have that feeling where we go, oh, I'm having a craving right now. I know I am. This is really tough. It feels so uncomfortable to have a craving. And we try to get out of that discomfort by eating. And it does make it go away after a while, right? Like we eat a bunch of stuff, we can make that discomfort go away after enough food. That we have a different kind of discomfort, by the way, but that's another story for another day. If we're having that feeling, that urge, that really uncomfortable thing, it can feel super uncomfortable to allow that to happen to us and not eat. But there's a difference between allowing that to happen to us and resisting it away. So, resisting is like typical diet advice you'll hear, like go for a walk, call a friend, get it with an accountability buddy, or, you know, go knit something or eat celery instead of chips, like that ever works, um, these are like resistance techniques and avoidance techniques. Those never work. They're not a long-term solution. A long-term solution is getting good at being uncomfortable. Okay, I say that again, getting good at being uncomfortable. Like these feelings we're having about that food, about wanting to eat that food, not going to kill us. We can have a feeling and it will not kill us. We can have an uncomfortable feeling and have a craving and not have it. But the difference between allowing and resisting is that allowing is letting it happen. Like, ooh, I'm open. I'm just going to feel this craving. It's totally fine. When we allow that to happen to us, that's when our brain starts to learn the opposite of what we were doing, which is acting on it. Because the brain was learning, oh, acting on it, you always act on it. But if we teach it that we can have the craving, but we're not going to answer it, we're not going to eat the croissant, right? Then we teach the brain the opposite, that we no longer act on those cravings. That so we're stoic. We can be in some discomfort. It's totally fine, and we don't have to eat the croissant to make it go away. We can just be uncomfortable. When we just be uncomfortable, we allow that to happen to us. The craving goes away. The more and more we teach our brain that that's what we do, we ignore these things. It's not ignoring. We acknowledge them. We let them happen. We have them. We feel them. If we get good at that, that's when cravings finally stop for good, because it's like that little sister poking you in the back, like, oh, you got to pay attention to me, pay attention to me. If you stop paying attention, then they stop bugging after a period of time, right? Or most sisters would, right? But your brain will do the same thing after a while. If you teach your brain that you no longer respond to urges by eating the croissant, you respond to urges by just having the urge, the brain goes, well, I'm going to conserve energy then, and I'm not going to make you crave anymore, because thoughts actually physically require calories. Like you have to burn calories for the brain to work. So the brain wants to conserve energy. It's like, I'm not going to serve that craving to you anymore if you're not going to answer it. And it will stop actually making you crave. Cravings actually do stop if you do this enough. They just go away. Like you can drive past a million Starbucks and never have a craving for it anymore. And sometimes they might just pop up like out of the blue, but it's nothing like what they used to be, which is like an overpowering, undeniable urge. Now it's just like, oh, donuts sound good, but I would never eat them, not interested kind of a thing. Okay. So that is the last step of that system to stop the food cravings. You have to do that in order for them to stop for good. And this is something that we teach all about in the Eat to Live family. So if you're interested, Eat to Live family is open for registration right now. We're only open for a few more days. Would love to see you in there. And actually, I don't know if you heard that. I just got a notification from someone in the Itil family that messaged me just now. But there's so many people in there, hundreds of people in there, all supporting each other, helping each other grow, learning these things that I'm teaching you right now in great depth, putting it into place in their own lives, and learning how to finally put aside this whole food obsession thing for good. So as I said, in the Eat to Live family, you get the Eat to Live Academy, you get the weight loss vlog, you get the coaching calls, you get the recipe book, you get the Facebook-like interface where you can interact with members, get to know members. We've had in-person meetings occurring as a result of this family, and that they live next to each other. We've had at least 2 in-person meetings happen so far. People meeting other nutritarians that live close enough. It really is a family where we support each other and grow. And yes, so that's that. If you're interested in the Eat to Live family, as I said, monthly affordable coaching membership. Cancel anytime if you like, but come in. We'd love to see you in there. It's open for registration right now, only open for a few more days. So you have to get in, and we're going to close down. You won't be able to get in for a little while again. Okay, we'd love to see you in there. And there's a link for where to go in the top of this chat section, as well as in the description of the video too, as well as the 4-step system, 4-part system that I was telling you about. And we, as I said, that's part of our actual big 4-part system that we learn in the Itil family. So if you want to know more about this stuff, you can learn all about it. Super affordable to get in, and you can just go watch all the videos and learn all this stuff real quick. Now I got to say, not a good solution to just learn the stuff and then, leave, because you really have to put this stuff into place and learn it as if you were like learning calculus or something. You want to rewire your brain a little bit here. That's what we're trying to do. But I give you all the resources you need to do that. And if any of the testimonials are right, it's crazy the kind of results people have been getting. They're losing 5, 10, 20 pounds at a time. People are getting to their lifetime goal weights. And the support, just the camaraderie is incredible. So I hope you will join us. Let me look through the questions here now. So Wild Temple says, I've been vegan for 7 years, nutritarian since July last year, and have plateaued at a BMI of 25. You have some patterns that are preventing me from getting down to that 21, 22. Yeah, exactly. And you know what those patterns are? Wild Temple, they are your thought patterns. And those thoughts are creating your feelings, and your feelings are creating your actions. So if you want to change your actions around food, you got to learn how to change those thoughts. And that's what I teach in the Eat to Live family. Okay. Christine says, on my second week and lost almost 10 pounds, all my ibuprofen I was on is not needed, has healed arthritis, heartburn, headaches, all gone. But now I'm starting the same old mindset. 100%. Exactly. Like, that's how it works. You get excited about it, feels great, you're on track, and then you're like, oh, I can just fall back. Like, it's no big deal. I'm going to reward myself. I've been doing so good. I might as well have a little bit of this again, right? This is what I'm teaching you, how to stop doing that pattern, right? And she says, oh, wonderful. You say, I'm receiving your monthly membership for a Mother's Day gift from a friend. Oh, I'm so excited. That's so wonderful. I Swallow Come says, how do I donate? Can I donate using PayPal? Yeah, if you want to donate, that's amazing. I would so appreciate that. I can give you the donation link right here. It's just PayPal.me/The Watering Mouth. That's really sweet of you to ask that. Thank you. That didn't come through as a link. Let me just write that as a link. I've had people donate over the years, and it's always useful for me. I really appreciate the idea. A super chat isn't working. Got it. Because super chat is a way that while we were on these live videos, you guys can donate at the same time. I really appreciate that. That makes me feel so good to know, that my mission is going to move forward. And that's what I'm trying to do. Grow this thing as big as possible. I want the Eat to Live family to be like the most powerful health and wellness membership and platform in the world. It's going to change lives. It's already changing so many lives. When we started, we launched well over 100 people. Last I checked, we had like 168 or something like that. And we're in the middle of a launch right now. We got a bunch more people signing up. Each time we open, there's going to be so many more people. So just imagine a place with all these nutritarians doing the same exact thing you're doing, rewiring their brains. And Starshine says, yeah, I know, Christine, it doesn't feel good, does it? Like when you go back to those old patterns, then you just have that bad feeling again, right? So how about we learn how to rewire and be consistent for life? Now, I'm going to just full disclosure, it's going to take a little while because, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of patterns, 60 years, 70 years. Most of my members are females between the ages of 50 and 70. So if you've got that many years of patterns, it's going to take a little while, right? But it's good to know that there's a solution and there's a way out of that if you just kind of put the work in, right? Starshine says, I love this. Small shifts. This hits home with me. Changing our thoughts, feelings, and actions. It's so much more doable in small changes for sure. You're so welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. That is the basis of my little quick start program that's in the Eat to Live family, the small shifts. So I explained that. I also explained there's a few other steps in that quick start program to help you really get on track, including the PAL system, which I was talking about before, which is our 4-part system that includes the small shifts. So that's right in there when you first get into the Eat to Live family as well. You can go through that quick start program real quick. It just takes a few hours and you'll know exactly the program you're going to be on. So you can just get started right away. Some folks haven't even done the academy and they've just done the quick start program and lost weight doing that. And then they kind of expand and go into the Eat to Live family and learn more to kind of put these things into place permanently. But that quick start program will get you on task and just ready to go. You'll know exactly what to do right away when you get in there. And then on top of that, there's so much more. There's my weight loss log, there's the coaching calls, there's, when the going gets rough, there's something there for you always to just come back to. And it's so funny because I'm always joking about how this is true though. I will go back and watch my own Eat to Live Academy videos and I'm like, wow, that was really smart. I'm like, I forgot that, I'll see things in a different way because I've come such a long way. I'll see things that I said in a totally different way and I'll get new meaning from it. And I'll forget stuff I said before. And I'm like, wow, that was really genius, So there's just hundreds and hundreds of hours of content for you guys to watch. And there's always something for you to figure it out. But I've also made it not overwhelming to where it's very simple. Like you can just do the quick start program, just get in there and go. And then use the Facebook wall where you're, the Facebook like wall where you're just talking to people and encouraging people and helping support. And it's so amazing to have a group of people who want to eat the healthiest diet on the planet. Because how many people do you know actually want to eat this way, right? I don't even want to eat this way sometimes. So it's impossible to find people that are this passionate about it, and we're all just supporting each other and helping each other through. So, okay, I don't see any other questions here. That's all we got. I just want to say thank you to I Swallow Come for suggesting donating. That's really sweet. I so appreciate that and helping my mission. I appreciate all of you who hung out with me here on this call. I hope you learned something. I hope that, I know Starshine got something out of that small shifts talk, so I'm glad at least I was able to give that to you today. But if you want to expand on this, please consider joining the Eat to Live family. It is worth way more than I charge. Oh my God, it's so dumb how much I charge. But I want it to be accessible. I want to be able to hit as many people as possible. And I can't do it for free because if I did it for free, you wouldn't take it seriously, right? You have to have some skin in the game. You've got to put something in there that hurts a little bit so that you will put effort in, right? It's the same thing we say about private coaching. Nancy and I is like, you got to pay something because if you don't pay anything and it doesn't hurt a tiny bit, you're not going to follow through. And you got to follow through with this. Just keep coming back. And that's the motto of my site. Just keep going, because as long as you just keep going, you're going to keep bringing things up and keep learning things and keep getting better and better and better. And by the time you know it, you'll be in my place where it's just not an issue anymore. Like I've lost 21 pounds in a few months and it's not hard. It feels simple. It doesn't feel hard at all. I'm doing it and I'll be at my goal weight, fairly soon. I'll just keep going and I'll just keep doing what I need to do to make that happen and sharing exactly how I'm doing that too. So, and Danielle says, you're determined to stay on it. Good. That's so good to hear. And when you feel not determined anymore, let us know. We'll be here for you because I've gone through that so many times where I'm just like, oh, I can't, I'm just going to do Starbucks for a while. And now, there's no drama anymore. That's what I'll teach you in there is how to be drama free and just eat the good stuff and feel better. Okay. So that's it. I really hope to see you in the Eat to Live family. At least just go to the link and check it out. See if it seems interesting. And maybe if you don't catch it on this opening, when we open registration again, maybe you can get in there. I'm not sure exactly when we're opening again. But for sure in the next few months, I would think. So check it out, see what you think. Hope to see you in the Eat to Live family. Links in the chat here and also in the description below this video. And yeah, White Nurse Shoes. You say any information greatly appreciated from Massachusetts. Good. Hello, Massachusetts. And check out, wait, Danielle, I don't know if I saw it. Hold on, let me see. Danielle said, no, I don't think I saw it, Danielle. You said, did you see my previous text? I just saw that you said you're determined to stay on it. It didn't come through, I guess, if you did something before there. So write it again if you can before I leave. Okay, Christine, you're going to go eat a watermelon. Go enjoy. Oh, it's one of our favorite foods. Yeah, so White Nurse Shoes. I don't know if you saw this live, but make sure you watch it again once it gets posted here. I'm going to sign off here in just a few minutes. And when it gets posted, go watch this again because this gives you all the information you need about what's available in the Eat to Live family, which is my affordable monthly group coaching membership. There's also tons of information on the link that I have posted at the top of this chat section as well as in the description below the video. So we would love to see you in the Eat to Live family. Danielle, I'm going to wait just another second to see if your text comes through. Otherwise, I'm going to take off. And man, my throat is like so dry because I started my meetings today 4.5 hours ago. And it's just been talk. But I just got to say, I always love going on YouTube with you guys because you guys always ask the best questions and you're always so active. I really appreciate it. And right now it's time for me to go and have my salad because I'm hungry and I've got one in the fridge already, one I made yesterday. Yes, Danielle, please email me. I'd be happy to answer any question for you. So that's it, you guys. Let me just give you my email, Danielle. It's Cheri@thewateringmouth.com, Cheri, okay, at thewateringmouth.com. So thank you so much for being here, you guys. I hope to see you in the Eat to Live family, and I will see you on a live video really soon, hopefully. Have a good Tuesday. Bye.